What's up, Crim Heist? Welcome to another criminology educational video. And for today, we will be discussing the subject of fundamentals of criminal investigation and intelligence. By the way, my name is Sean Francis Sandiego, also known as the Professor. So before we jump into our discussion, please don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe to the Professor, and hit the notification bell for you to be updated for my next video upload. So what are we going to discuss for today? We will be discussing the following. First is intelligence cycle, planning the collection effort, collection, collation of information, and dissemination of intelligence, and counterintelligence. So first on our list would be the intelligence cycle. Intelligence cycle is a process of obtaining information which includes proper procedure and sequence of steps starting from planning, collection, collation, and dissemination of a processed information to appropriate persons. Intelligence cycle is important as it provides the necessary details in attaining the mission. So as we all know, na bago natin makonsider na ang isang information is an intelligence, kailangan nitong dumaan sa isang proseso. Kaya nga ang intelligence, tinatawag natin siya as processed information. And therefore, for it to be processed information, kailangan dumaan siya sa proseso. And that process is intelligence cycle. So ano yung tinatawag natin dito na mission? Mission is the purpose why intelligence should be gathered and used for particular undertaking. It is considered as the heart of intelligence cycle. So yung mission, ito yung tinatawag natin na essence or purpose, bakit ba kinikailangan natin yung intelligence or process information na yon. So what are the phases of intelligence cycle? So makikita natin na dyan si planning and direction, collection, processing, and dissemination and use. So first is the phase 1, which is planning the collection effort. In this phase of the cycle, it involves the determination of the requirements of intelligence. It is considered with identifying the so-called essential elements of information or yung tinatawag natin na EEI. Ano ito? An item of intelligence or information of the characteristics of the area of operations and the enemy, which the commander feels he needs before he can reasonably arrive at a decision. With this, the intelligence officer must have a thorough knowledge of the available source of information and the collecting agencies and the type of information. The latter can provide the determination of intelligence requirements. So ano ba yung tinatawag natin na priority intelligence requirements or yung tinatawag na elements of the information or EEIs? Those intelligence requirements for which a commander has an anticipated and stated priority in his task of planning and decision making. It is the highest intelligence requirement and is the basis for intelligence operation and are personally approved by the commander. So, ibig sabihin, itong priority intelligence requirement, ito yung na-anticipate na nung end user and he stated the priority kung bakit kailangan yung intelligence na yon. So, this is considered again as the highest intelligence requirement. Classification of intelligence requirements according to its use. So, first is executive. Intelligence is required by executive government and military commanders. The executive requirements are the basis for decisions and national policy making. So, ang requirement daw ng intelligence na to or the end user is executive government, which is our president and military commanders. And ginagamit or kailangan daw or required daw yung intelligence na ito for decision making and national policy making as its end user is the president. B is contributory. Intelligence is required to complete the staff process, make staff plans, and estimate that contributes to the decision and policy making of a certain department or a certain organization. As to operational, these are additional intelligence required in planning and carrying out effectively the decision or policy announced. Decisions and policy requires implementation. So ito namang sa operational, these are intelligence needed para ma-carry out yung napagplanuhang operation or course of action. Collateral, higher or adjacent echelons of the government or military establishment. Now, let's go to classification of intelligence requirements according to type. First is basic. These are general reference materials to be used in planning regarding the enemies or potential enemies, areas of operations, capability, static, comprehensive. So from the word itself, basic, kumbaga general reference materials to be used by anyone. Current are temporary in nature and narrower in scope. Information required to cope up with the current objective. So, kumbaga current, present time. So, magiging effective lang or kinikailangan lang yung intelligence requirement na ito due to its present situation or present condition. Therefore, yung scope ng kanyang intelligence is nature and narrower. Kumbaga doon lang at a specific present time. Next is estimative, are those that determine the future courses of action required by the executives to plan future military operations and policies. Dito naman sa estimative, from the word itself, ini-estimate niya lang or kumbaga nagpe-predict lang siya ng mga maaaring mangyari and therefore, kailangan magplano for future course of action. And ayun naman tinatawag natin na estimative. Ini-estimate niya what are the proper course of action to be taken in future or to the future. How this information shall be collected and why shall this information be collected? So, collection, collation of information, and dissemination of intelligence. Paano daw kinokolekta? Paano ino-organize ang information? And after the process, paano siya dinidisseminate or paano siya ibinibigay sa end user? Phase 2 is the collection of information. This phase of cycle, so ito na yung second phase na tayo ng intelligence cycle. Its concern is the identification of the collecting agency, the formulation of procedures on the manner of collecting the information in conjunction with the plans achieved in phase. So dito sa phase 2, ina-identify na dito kung paano yung magiging proper collection ng information or ng information to be processed. So, the collection of information, systematic exploitation of sources of information by collecting agencies and the delivery of the information obtained to the proper intelligence unit or agency. So, ito yung proseso kung paano i-identify kung sino ang proper collection or collecting agency to collect that information and to deliver it or ibigay ito sa proper intelligence unit or agency. Collection agency, it is any person, unit, or activity that collects and or processes information by research, surveillance, or the exploitation of the source of information. So therefore, si collection agency, ito yung tao, unit, or activity na ginagamit or ginagawa to be able to process the information for it to be a process information or for it to be an intelligence. So, collection plan, a dynamic tool used to coordinate and integrate the efforts of all collection units and agencies. Assist collection manager in obtaining or organizing his thought processes. In collecting information, the following factors should be considered, such as who will collect the information. So, it is very important to designate kung sino yung proper collection agency. It may be a person or a unit na kukuha ng information. Second, what information will be collected? So, nakasaad sa collection plan kung ano yung information na dapat kunin o i-collect ni collection agency. Third, where are the places whereby information shall be collected? Saan maaaring kunin o i-procure yung information? When is the right time to gather the information? So, in intelligence kasi, it's all about timing, the right timing. So, kailan daw yung proper timing or right time to gather or to collect that information? How this information shall be collected? Ano ang proseso kung paano gagawin ni collection agency yung collection ng information? And, bakit kailangan kolektahin yung information? Ano yung dahilan or essence, what is the requirement, bakit kailangan ng information na yun? Or bakit kailangan i-collect yung information na yun? Next is criteria in the selection of a collection plan. First is suitability. The quality of having the properties that are right for a specific purpose. So the collection task is assigned to a particular office, must be compatible within its mission. Only in order to ensure that only the best suited agencies are employed to furnish the information needed. Usually, the requesting agency uses suitability analysis before deciding to choose its counterpart in information gathering. So dito sa suitability, inaalam lang dito wherein this is a collection task para malaman kung sino yung collection agency or collecting agency, the proper unit that is suitable or compatible within its primary mission to furnish the information. Suitability analysis, ito yung proseso or procedure used to establish the suitability of a system. That is, the ability of a system to meet the needs of the stakeholder or other users. Second is multiplicity, the quality or state of being multiple or the number of components in a system. Normally, the evaluation of information requires that it must be compared with the information received from other sources and agencies. Subject to the consideration of suitability, more than one agency is used to obtain the information needed. So dito sa multiplicity, hindi lang isang agency yung nagko-collect ng information. So kailangan more than one agency. Next is balance. Is usual used to describe a condition in which two different things or variables are equal. In the context of intelligence, the word balance refers to the relationship between the workload and the number of agencies utilized to collect the desired data. So dito nga sa multiplicity, sinasabi dito na more than one agency or collecting agency yung maaaring mag-collect ng information. Now, kailangan din nating i-take into consideration yung balance, which is yung workload and number of agencies. Maaari kasi na onti lang pala yung workload, tapos nagkaroon tayo ng maraming agencies involved. So, syempre, hindi siya nagiging balanse. Kailangan, the number of agency and the workload shall be balanced. Sakto lang. Hindi naman pwede maging underpower or underman tayo na maraming workload pero onti ang number of agency. So, dapat proportionate lang siya with each other. Next is capability. Refers to the quality of being able to perform something as measured by the person's mental and physical fitness to perform the assigned task and the resources available. It is also refers to the ability to perform or achieve certain actions or outcomes through a set of resources. In intelligence, the word capability is used to describe the ability of the collection agency to collect the required information based on its resources and fitness of its people to perform the assigned task. So dito naman sa capability is the chosen collecting agency or collection agency capable of collecting that information based on its resources and the specialization of the manpower or the people under the collecting agency. Next is the symbols of sources of information. So this is very important for you to take note. So in the collection process, it is necessary that the collection agency should use a workable system of identification of sources. Usually, the collection agency employs a system that uses letters with corresponding meanings to identify the sources of information. So the table below show the symbols and the corresponding sources. So ditong table na to, malalaman natin kung paano daw nakuha yung information, kung saang source ito nakuha, kung saang lupalop ito nanggaling. If nakita daw natin na katag ay letter T, nakuhang information or intelligence through direct or observation by the commander of a unit. Letter U, report by a penetration agent or resident agent. Letter V, report by an AFP trooper or PNP personnel in encounter or during the course of operation. W, interrogation of a captured enemy, agent, or foreigner. Letter X, observation of a government or civilian employee or official. Letter Y, observation by a member of a populace or a citizen. And letter Z, it is a documentary. So, ibig sabihin, galing siya sa documents. So, again, let me reiterate, it is very important for you to be familiarized with this table as this will be a recitation. Next, sources of information. So, there are three sources of information. Nandiyan si human, field sources, and scientific sources. Human, galing sa tao. Field sources, these are permanent and specialized collectors. It may be police or intelligence officers who work in the field. While for scientific sources, these are specialized internal areas of the organization, possesses expert knowledge or specialized equipment to extract information. So for human sources, nandiyan yung criminals and their relatives or associates, informants, offenders and police, investigators or intelligence officers, private investigators, business and community people, and academics and consultants. As to field sources, nandiyan ang surveillance team, undercover operatives, informant handlers, aerial or coastal surveillance, police and intelligence, officers using police powers. So, yan yung sinasabi natin kanina. For field sources, maaring it came from an operation or a person during the course of action or operation. Next is scientific sources. It may be from a physical evidence and forensic teams, financial investigators or forensic accountants, economists, drug analysis, IT specialists, psychological assessors, or computer crime specialists. Next is methods in gathering information. Simply refers to the different approaches as to how information shall be gathered or collected. Di ba, isa yan sa type or isa yan sa mga kino-consider natin sa collection plan on how does the information should be properly collected or gathered. First is infiltration. It is a secret and gradual penetration into the enemy organization, domain, and territory in order to acquire the information. So, ito yung tinatawag natin na letter U source. So, infiltration, it is by a penetration of a resident agent. The police department collects information in response to the intelligence requirements of its head of office through police routine activities. These activities include but are not limited to patrol, use of informants, criminal investigation, community relations, checkpoints, searches and seizures, surveillance operations, and coordination with other agencies. Whatever activities are maintained by the police in the collection of information. Next is covert method. May dalawa types kasi ng method. It's covert and overt. Covert, just to give you a heads up, from the word itself, cover. Diba? Parang it is a secret or clandestine mean or operation. Yung overt kasi, letter O, so open. So yun yung keyword na ginagamit ko. So for covert method, it is a clandestine or secret means of obtaining information regarding criminals, organized crimes, subversive elements, and activities of foreign nations. The most common techniques of covert operations includes infiltration and surveillance. Surveillance is an act of monitoring the behavior and activities of the people or a group of individuals and others with great interest to the police or the collection agencies. Surveillance is used by the government for the prevention of crime, the protection of a process, person, group, or object, or for the investigation of a hostile activities. Yung infiltration, na-discuss ko na yan kanina. So, it is by means of penetrating the enemy or an enemy's organization. Equipments used to achieve the covert method of intelligence. It may be from a body wire, tracking device, or surveillance, low-light photography, covert packages, and audio electronic device. So, ito yung ginagamit natin for vehicle tracking device para matrack kung ano ang nasa ng location yung sasakyan ng kalaban. It may be from a body wire attached dun sa katawan ng tao. Next is overt method. For overt method, it is kabaliktaran naman siya ni covert method. It is the act of obtaining information through the use of open methods or through the employment of open source data is known as an overt method. It involves the collection of information from open sources such as government records, census and statistics, commercial and business listings, and other printed materials available to the public such as the newspaper publication. So these are information na maaari nating makuha which is readily open to the public. Next phase or the third phase is the collation or the processing of the information collected. In the intelligence cycle, collation refers to the process involved in evaluating the accuracy and reliability of the information collected. Reliability means judging the source. So, tinetest or ine-evaluate natin yung pinanggalingan ng information. While accuracy simply means the level of truthfulness of the information. So, dalawa ang keyword dyan, reliability and accuracy. Reliable ba ang information through its source kung saan ito nanggaling? Accuracy of the information, how truth is that information, how accurate, how certain the information is. So, yun. We can evaluate that through in collation stage, all collected information will undergo the following before it can be evaluated, which I will be shown later on. First is recording. The reduction of information to writing or some other form of graphical representation and the arranging of information into groups of related items. Second is analysis. The collected information is broken into different components and isolates that are relevant to the mission or those that have intelligence value, which includes looking into the source of information, truthfulness of information, and who provides the information. So, ina-analyze, after ito i-record, i-analyze yung information. And then, here comes the evaluation. So, sa evaluation, it is the determination of the pertinence, reliability, and accuracy, or how true the information is. Determination of the pertinence or significance of the information relative to the operation or current situation, reliability of the sources or agencies, and accuracy of the information. So, this is the reliability and accuracy table. So, for evaluation guide, ito yung reliability of information, ito yung COUFNUR, and accuracy of information, CPPDIT. So, dito, itong COUFNUR and CPPDIT, this will help you to memorize it because it's very important for you to memorize it along together with the sources of information. Yung kaninang binanggit kong table. So, for the reliability of information, A, complete reliable, B, usually reliable, C, fairly reliable, D, not usually reliable, E, unreliable, F, reliability cannot be judged. And accuracy of information, nandiyan yung confirmed by other sources, which is number 1. Number 2, probably true. Number 3, possibly true. Number 4, doubtfully true. Number 5, improbable. And number 6, truth cannot be judged. Example of evaluation rating, the information is completely reliable and confirmed by other sources. Therefore, the evaluation rating is A1. Number 4, integration. So after evaluation, i-integrate na natin siya. It is the combination of all those isolated information from various sources to produce a new information necessary for the success of the mission. So for integration, syempre marami tayong information na pinroseso from various sources. Now, it's the time for it to be integrated into one and to formulate or to produce one information or to produce new information. Number 5 is interpretation. It is the process involved in providing meaning and significance of new information. So sa interpretation, ipapakita natin dito what is the significant or the importance. Ano ang ambag nito? Ano ang ambag na new information na to sa mission or sa operation? And of course, its description or meaning. 6 is synthesis. It provides a conclusion based on the new information generated in relation to the current information or situation. A process information is already called intelligence. So, yun yung sinasabi natin kanina, yung progress niya from being just an information, going it or underwent doon sa intelligence cycle. Now, it's the time that we can call it as an intelligence because it is already a process information. Now is the phase 4, which is the dissemination of intelligence. This is the last cycle. In the intelligence cycle, dissemination refers to the actions taken to transfer the process information to the appropriate person or to the end user. Extra care should be considered in disseminating process of information and should be based on the need to know principle. Meaning, information or those that have already intelligence value should be passed, handled, or disseminated among people who have the personality to know or acquire the same. So, ibig sabihin, the information or the intelligence should be handed over doon sa proper end user. Next is criteria in dissemination. First is timeliness. The timely conveyance of intelligence to the end users in appropriate form and by any suitable means. Second is propriety. In dissemination of intelligence, it must be clear, concise, and complete. It must be disseminated to the right user in the most effective way and in accordance with the security requirements of the office. So intelligence can be disseminated in any of the following. So if the intelligence is fragmentary orders from top of the bottom to the command, who are the users? National leaders or the president. If the intelligence is memorandum, circular, special orders, the end user should be the military commanders. If it is operations order, it may be oral or written. The end users are advisors and staff. If it is for conference staff members, the users would be the friendly nations. Other reports and intelligence documents, the end user is the head or the chairman of the organization. And if it is personal contact, the end user is any person with authority right over the intelligence or the process information. Now let's go to our last topic, which would be the counterintelligence. So for counterintelligence, it is a type of intelligence employed to protect the interests and safeguard lives, property, and important information against possible entry or infiltration of enemy forces from being lost, destroyed, or stolen. In police parlance or in police situation, this includes denying and blinding the enemy about police operation, as well as giving the police officer the opportunity to gather information without being detected. This is the also phase of intelligence covering the activity devoted in destroying the effectiveness of hostile foreign activities and the protection of information against the following. So, itong counterintelligence na to, ginagamit siya to protect the interest of the organization or the state against any type of infiltration from the enemy. So, objectives of counterintelligence. Ginagawa ito to prevent espionage, sabotage, subversion, disaffection, treason, or sedition. Ito yung ginagawa to overthrow the government or para palitan yung leaders. So, ito yung mga kung bakit ito ginagawa or bakit siya kailangang i-prevent. Security of government, either be military and police officers, deny enemy of any knowledge pertaining to the classified documents and or information that can be used against the end user. Aid activity to achieve surprise against criminal and subversive plans and activities, and detect possible disaffection, reason, or sedition within the own forces. So, galing siya sa loob or any member of the organization who tries to overthrow the leader or the organization itself. Espionage refers to the stealing of the vital information, either physical or in electronic form. So, ito yung pag-spy sa mga organization to get vital information. Subversion, this is the recruitment of a person who is working within an organization or employment of any person to an organization who will work secretly in an attempt to undermine or overthrow its current system. So, sa subversion, maglulure siya or kukuha siya ng member of that organization to be used as a spy para makakuha ng mga information. Sabotage refers to the stealing of property or destruction of any material in order to hamper or cause delay in the preparation of regular working duties. Disaffection, a state or feeling of being dissatisfied with the people in authority and no longer willing to support them. Treason, disloyalty to one's own country by giving away or selling its secret to the enemy or by trying to overthrow it. Sedition, it is any action promoting or inciting discontent or rebellion against the government. Varied activities of counterintelligence. A is detection. It is the process of knowing the clandestine operation of the enemy. Ide-detect o aalamin mo, huhulihin mo. B, prevention. It is the application of counterintelligence operation to avoid enemy activities. Neutralization, para ito ay ma-contain mo or to necessarily requires to contain the enemy's activity. Measures for effective counterintelligence. A is passive defensive and letter B is active offensive. So first, let's go to passive defensive. This is counterintelligence measure that seeks to conceal information from the enemy. Poprotektahan mo, from the word itself, passive defensive. You are gumagawa ka ng mga measures to be able to defend the vital information na maaaring makuha ng enemy from you, such as secrecy discipline. So, kung ano ang nangyari sa loob ng organization, what you see, what you hear, when you leave it here. So, yun yung military secrecy discipline. Communication security, concealment, and camouflage. So, any other undertakings to be able to defend that vital information and not to leak or para hindi siya kumalat doon sa mga taong kalaban ng organization na yon. Next is active offensive. This is the measure that seeks to actively block enemies, attempt to gain information, or block enemies' effort to engage in espionage, sabotage, or subversion. Ito na in-explain ko kanina na detection, prevention, and neutralization. So what are the broad categories of counterintelligence operations? A is police security. These are measures taken by the police or any other law enforcement agencies or armed forces to protect them against espionage, enemy observation, sabotage or subversion, or the spearheading elements of surprise. The measure includes secrecy discipline, special safeguarding of classified information or equipment, security of troop movement, special handling of evaders and escapees, counter-subversion within the police service, technical measures in combat areas. Next is civil security. This encompasses active offensive and passive defensive counterintelligence, affecting the non-military or foreign nationals permanently or temporarily residing in an area under military or police jurisdiction. Example is systematic registration of civilians and aliens, control of circulations, curfew, surveillance of suspected political organization, security screening of labor, issuance of passes and permits. Next is special operation. This is used as an active counterintelligence techniques while conducting clandestine or covert against hostile and enemy intelligence. And it covers counter-terrorism, counter-espionage, counter-sabotage, counter-subversion, which I discussed a while ago. Next is port frontier and travel security. Ito yung application ng police and civil security measures to control at points of entry and departure such as sa mga airport or sa mga port areas in international boundaries. It includes the security control of seaports and frontiers. Example is security screening and control of frontier, security control of merchants, seamen, crew of commercial aircraft, security control of frontier crossing point, security control of seaports. Censorship, control and examination of communication to prevent transmission of information that may fall into the hands of the enemy and to collect and disseminate information of intelligence value to those who need it in appropriate and suitable manner. Next is national censorship. So yung censorship, meron siyang military and national censorship. For national censorship, the total control and examination of communication. So sinesensor yung communication of the entire populace o national in scope. Its purpose is to prevent unusual dissemination of information and intelligence to the enemy's hands. For military censorship, ito naman yung controlling of information intended for and coming from the military or police sources. Civil censorship, it is intended or coming from civilian populace. Field press censorship, it is a security review of news materials and other information. Prisoner of war censorship, control and examination of communication intended to and from the prisoner of war and civilian internees. Internee is someone from the enemy side held as a prisoner while the war is going on. So basically si censorship, ito lang yung pagko-communicate, supervision of communications. So thank you very much and I hope that you learned a lot from this video discussion. If you love this video, please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the professor and hit the notification bell for you to be updated for my next video upload. Thank you very much.